Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we are doing a full set of some pink flower nails. So I already prepped the nail, and sorry I forgot to press record. So right now I'm just cutting down the nail tips. You want to cut them to the desired length, and then we're going to measure the nails against each other. And we are doing a coffin shape, so as you guys know, what I like to do to save time is go in with a straight edge nail clipper, and I'm just going to cut the side of the nail tip. That way this saves us a lot of time when we're filing, because we're already cutting them into that coffin shape. So after this, we're just going to go back in with our 100 nail file, and we're just going to redefine that coffin shape. So once again, we are using a 100 nail file to shape the nails, and as you guys know, I always start from the side wall and file in towards the tip, and then when you file the nail tip, you want to file at a 90 degrees angle to make sure that you have that perfectly squared nail, or at least the tip squared, but then the sides are filed inwards to make it into that coffin shape. And then we blend the nail tip, and when you're blending the nail tip, all you're doing is just trying to get rid of that smile line. That way the nail looks a little bit more natural whenever you apply your acrylic. Alrighty, so now I have that perfect shape that I want. So I am going to be using some dried flowers, and I'm going to cut it in half. So these flowers I actually got from my local nail supply store. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but I know that's where I got them from. I'm going to go in and apply my primer. I'm using my OPI Bondex, and I'm just applying that to the natural nail. Be sure not to get it on the skin because it will burn them. Then for our acrylic, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, which is a translucent pink, almost a clear. So I use this to encapsulate nails as well. So I went ahead and applied a thin layer of acrylic over the whole nail. And remember, when you're working with acrylic, make sure that you're not applying too much, because then you're going to have a lot of filing to do at the end. So remember to work smarter and not harder. So after I apply that thin layer of acrylic, I'm going to go back and place my flower where I want it to. So I'm going to place it over to the side, like in the middle but on the side, and while the acrylic is still wet, I'm going to kind of tap it on there so it sticks, and then I'm going to go back and encapsulate the nail. So when you're encapsulating nails, you want to make sure that you do the acrylic thick enough to where whenever you come back to do your filing, you're not going to file off whatever you encapsulated. Alrighty, so for the rest of the nails, we're just going to do our regular 4-step process, which is the 4-ball method. So I place my first bead right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tips meet. I brush it down towards the tip, that way our tip gets its thickness. After that, we're going to place a second one right below that one, brushing it down towards the tip as well. And when you're brushing it, you want to do more of a feathering stroke. You don't want to brush too hard because you still want most of that product to stay where you placed it in the first place. And also remember that if you get acrylic running down towards the cuticle, you want to brush that as soon as possible, because if it dries up, it will be, I promise, impossible to take off, and it will cost your lifting. And also remember, you don't have to stick to the 4-ball method. If you place one ball and it was big enough, then you can move on to the next one. It might take 2 balls, whatever. So you don't have to stick to a certain method. Whatever works for you is fine. Okay, so once again, we get our bead, place it right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meets. We stroke that down towards the tip. Be sure not to brush too hard because you want that most of that product to stay right in the middle where you placed it in the first place. We're going to go ahead and place another one, and as you can see, this one I placed it above it because my first one was pretty big, so I placed that one above it and I brush it down towards the tip, and then I clean around the cuticle really good. And remember, you don't have to stick to a certain method. I can't stress that enough. Just do whatever works for you, but try not to work with a lot of product because you don't want to be left with a lot of filing to do at the end. So remember to work smarter and not harder. And once again, I am using the Mia's Secret acrylic system, which is my pink acrylic, which is almost clear. That's why I use that to encapsulate nails as well. And then I'm using my monomer, of course, and for my brush I'm using my alpha brush in the number 9, which is an oval shape, and I do have a promo code, so I'll leave that down in the description. And same thing for this nail, which will be the flower nail. We're going to do one bead, place it on the nail, brush it down towards the tip, And you want to make sure that your first layer of acrylic is not too thick, because as you guys know, we're going to do the flower and then we're going to encapsulate that. So you don't want to have a super thick nail. So after that, we're going to place our flower down and just pat it down to make sure that it kind of sinks a little bit into the acrylic. So you want to do this while the acrylic is still a little bit wet. After that, we're going to go in and encapsulate the flower. So remember, you want to make sure that this layer is thick enough to where whenever you start filing, you're not going to file any of the flower away. So just look at your nail from different angles, make sure that it is thick enough, and also remember that you want to make sure that you have a good apex area, which is right in the middle of the nail, and that's where your nail gets its strength from. And usually I create that by doing the fourth bead of acrylic, which is usually, like I said, right in the middle, right below the cuticle area. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go back in with my 100 nail file, and we are going to redefine that shape. Yes, you do have to do this step. A lot of the time whenever you apply your acrylic, it will take away from your shape, so you have to go back and redefine that shape. Once again, I am using my 100 nail file, and we are just redefining the shape. So after that, I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit, and we are going to file around the cuticle area as well as the rest of the nail. So as you guys know, I never have any bumps or lumps. My nails are usually really smooth, which caused me to save time because I don't have to do a lot of filing. So I focus around the cuticle area. I start from one side of the nail to the other, and this is my actual speed. So once again, I start from one side of the nail and just go around that cuticle area until I'm able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way we know that we don't have any lifting. So as you can see there, you're able to see all three of them, so it's pretty good. And then I'm also going to file the rest of the nail. And also, if you are a beginner or you just don't have much experience with acrylic, it will be a little bit harder to get your acrylic to lay down nice and smooth. So you will have a little bit more of filing to do, but that's okay. You will get better with time. And also, if you're only using a hand file, it will basically be the same thing. You still have to focus around that cuticle area. It will be a little bit harder to get really close to that cuticle area to prevent lifting, but it is possible. And something else I want to mention is that you always want to look at your nail from different angles. If one side of the tip is thicker than the other, then just go back and file each side evenly, or just file both sides to the same width. Because if you see it, your client is able to see it too, and it's a lot of little stuff that bothers clients. So you want to make sure that you make them happy, and just pay attention to what you're doing. And if you see something, I promise that they see it too. So make sure you keep that in mind, and don't just rush a set. Make sure you take your time, talk to your client, make them feel comfortable, and that will keep them coming back every time. After we're done with the filing part, we're going to go in with a buffer, and remember, when you're buffing the nails, this is to get rid of any little bumps or lumps or any scratches, or really you should be able to get the bumps and lumps out with your drill or even just your hand file. So the buffer, this is to get the scratches out. If you don't do this, you will be able to see those scratches through your polish, and sometimes if the buffer is coarse enough, it can get rid of little bumps, because like I said, you will be able to see every little thing through your polish. So make sure that you even feel on the nail like I do with your thumb, just to make sure that it's nice and smooth, and if it's not, just go back and buff some more, because like I said, your clients would notice every little thing. So after this, we're going to go back and wipe the nails off with an alcohol wipe, and this is just to get the dust off the nail, and then she'll be ready for her polish application. Alrighty, so for her polish, we are using this Madam Glam gel polish in the color Angel Wings, which is a really pretty pink. Once again, that is Angel Wings by Madam Glam, and I do have a promo code for Madam Glam, so I'll leave that in the description. And then I'm also going to be using the Color Club holographic color in the color Just My Luck, which will be the color for our rhinestones. As you guys know, that is the color that I always use as a base for my bling. After we're done with this hand, we're going to cure it for 30 seconds under our UV LED light. Alrighty, so now I'm going to come back and do a second coat of that same gel polish. As you can see, the Madam Glam gel polishes have a great coverage. Like, you can just get away with one coat, but I always like to come back and do a second one. So once again, we are doing a second coat, and then we're going to cure each hand for another 30 seconds. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in and apply some big bling. So for that, I'm using some hard gel. I'm applying it with this OPI gel brush. And then with my wax pencil, I'm going to go pick up the big stones. And as you can see, I just place them right on top of that hard gel. And then if I need to add some more, then I do so with my same gel brush. After that, we're going to go in with our Mia Secret gel resin, and I'm going to apply some bling. So for that I'm using my wax pencil, my SS6 and my SS12. As you guys know, I apply the glue over the whole nail, and I apply my rhinestones starting right in the center of the nail, and I work my way around the perimeter of the nail. I fill in the little gaps with the two different sizes. I'll just alternate from side to side, or from size to size, and then I just fill up the whole nail. Alrighty, and after I finish applying my bling, I like to go in with that same Mia Secret gel resin and just fill in the little gaps with that glue just to make sure that they stay on super good. And then I go back and apply the activator spray, which is the spray that helps the glue dry way faster. Okay, so for the big bling, after you apply it, you do want to go back and clean around the bling just to make sure that any of that hard gel that kind of was left out is cleaned up so it don't look too messy. So for that I'm using my same gel brush. I dipped it in some acetone and I'm just cleaning around. And we do have to cure that gel, the hard gel, for 60 seconds, and then after that I'm just going to go back and add my IBD gel top coat, which is the non-cleansed top coat that I always use, and then we're going to cure this for another 60 seconds. Alrighty y'all, so this is the final look. They turned out beautiful. That pink is so pretty and the flower is just flawless. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.